Awesome, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I have another camera up as well. This camera is going to be showing, I'm going to be doing some like hands-on work with Indy and Bolt on my kitchen counter. Please excuse my makeshift demo space. But so I have that too. You're welcome to view that alongside the presentation. But thanks for having me. I'm Shane. If you haven't met me, I'm the Education Partnership Manager for Wyoming. Been with Sphero for a little while now. And today, what we're going to be discussing is just a quick short presentation on meeting Wyoming CS standards with Sphero. The goal of this is to show you how you can incorporate some of these CS standards quite easily using our robots. But I also want to give you kind of an idea of how you can bring these CS standards with other STEAM tools that you may have in your classroom too. Hopefully that can be helpful. All right, so first I'm just going to jump into Sphero Indi. And so some of you may be familiar with Indi. This is our new early learning robot that teaches foundational computer science without the use of a device. It uses a color sensor. You just heard me turn it on right there probably, but it uses a color sensor to detect color tiles, which if you look at my iPad screen, I have a bunch of different color tiles here, and all of them correspond with a specific movement, sound, and light. Kind of for the sake of time, I've just listed all of their functions, but what we typically do is an exploratory period where we figure out what each of these color tiles does and how they operate and how they influence Indi's movement. And one of the first standards that we can jump into pretty much immediately is decomposition. And decomposition at a very basic level is breaking things down into simpler, easier to manage parts. And the first thing that we can do with Indi is just figure out what each of these color tiles does. Understanding what each of the functions is a great way to start, and a great way to, start beginning some of these activities that you can do with Indi. So what you're seeing here is a challenge card. These challenge cards, if you look at my other screen, these come with Indi as a physical copies, but then I've also been you can also make challenge cards on our website too. And so that's what I've done here is I've created a quick little challenge card. And here what we kind of want to do with decomposition is first, break these steps down so that we can complete this challenge card. That first step would be identifying the start and the end point. So we have green, which is always start, and then we have purple, which is our end point. And then another way to kind of break this challenge card down further is adding the information we already have at our disposal. So we have these color tiles already laid out, but we also have ones that we don't know yet. And so that will be part of our process for decomposition, is figuring out what these do and what we need to put there. So I'm just going to lay out these color tiles that we know. So we have a blue one, we have a pink one, we have a mystery one that we don't know, we have a teal, and right now if I'm actually actively laying these out on my counter. And then we have a yellow too. So that's what we know, that's what we have. From here, we can move into the planning and debugging phase. And so what we want to do is develop a plan that describes the program sequence, the types of events and goals and expected outcomes. So obviously a couple of our goals are to figure out the mystery tiles, and our eventual goal is to get Indi on the purple color tile at the very end right here. In order to do that, we'll need to debug and test a couple things. So I'm going to give that a shot right now. We're going to test out a couple color tiles and see what happens. I'm laying down this pink color tile. Doesn't work. I'm going to lay down this orange color tile. That doesn't work either. And so maybe some of the observations that students have made is, hey, at the beginning of this program, of this algorithm that we've started making, this blue tile causes Indy to make a right turn. And so why don't we give that a try up at the top? And that addresses the third standard that I've listed here. So we're going to add the blue. Great, and we're almost there to the end of our program. And you may have also noticed that teal makes a 45-degree turn. 2 45s are necessary to make a 90-degree turn, and that's what we need to complete this program. Cool. So we've completed the challenge card. That's what it looks like. And we've addressed quite a few computer science standards that are listed in Wyoming's computer science standard list. And we've been able to successfully complete this as well. And one of the ways that we can extend these standards even further is, again, through decomposition. So what we can do is, discuss comparing and refining these algorithms. How can we improve this to make it either more complex for the sake of complexity or simpler? And so you may have also noticed, two of these teals, again, they make a blue. So if you ask your students, hey, how can we reduce the number of turns? How can we make this a simpler program? Well, we can substitute 2 of these teals for blue. And this process may also take further debugging and testing and decomposition, repeating these steps to make sure that everything works accordingly. Cool. So finally, while we are, doing our programs and working with Indy, we can also use correct terminology. So within every activity activity that you can find in Indy's educator guide, we have vocabulary that you can present to your students. And this is really important. Discussing, these as not just paths or, a toy, but this is an algorithm that we're creating. This is a program that we've made. And so it's a really easy way to incorporate, this standard as well. All right, so I'm going to move directly into Bolt. Some of you may also be familiar with Sphero Bolt. This is one of our main platforms for teaching generally block programming. It rotates on a gyroscope. It has a number of sensors, including an IR sensor, accelerometer, a programmable LED matrix, and it is programmed using our Sphero EDU application, which connects to the robot via Bluetooth. And so what I'm going to be discussing really quickly is one of our first activities that you see on Sphero EDU, which is Bolt Blocks 4 on collision event Pong. And so what we're doing here is we are creating events that trigger Bolt to react a certain way. So we're directly following this specific standard, which is create programs that include sequences, events, loops, conditionals. And we're using events to do this specifically. So this specific activity first starts out with a bunch of different blocks that are, that students will need to test out. And this, the best way to figure out what works and what doesn't work is, again, through decomposition. So we're figuring out what each of these blocks does and how it functions. This also ties into debugging as well, since we're, testing different things and making changes depending on what works and what doesn't work. And so that's additional decomposition. Now I'm going to hop over to the Sphero EDU platform. This is the program that we have. And here is my robot. So the robot's connected via Bluetooth now. And from here, we can begin the program. So I'm going to first aim the robot, and that's what we do to create consistency in our programs. And as you can see, we have the on start program. So this is how it will begin. It's going to have a speed of 100 at a heading of 0 degrees and a delay for 2 seconds. And then on collision, it's going to change its heading. I'm just going to slap the robot. It's changing course. Turn around, buddy. I hit it a little bit too hard. Ran into Indy, caused some troubles. So just causing it to turn around based on these collision events right here. Cool, so you get the idea. From here, the activity actually dives into more comparing and refining algorithms. So we break down some of these individual blocks and ask students, how can we simplify this and clean up your program, clean up your code? And these specific blocks right here are directly equal to a single roll block that you can find at the bottom of the movements tab. And so just that action right there covers, some of the, is a small portion of being able to tackle refining algorithms. At the very end of our activities, we try to add the ability to scale and to modify and remix features to make your code either more interesting, more unique. And so at the very bottom of this activity, we discuss remixing your program by exploring some of these different options right here. So increasing speed or changing the heading. So what I actually had was a specific degree angle before in Sphero EDU that it was either 210 degrees or 150 degrees that Bolt would take. But now we're using a random integer to create a randomized path that Bolt will take after the collision event. So this directly aligns with creating programs that increase complexity, modifying them, remixing them to develop something new or add more advanced features. And that's it. That's what I have for today. I wanted to keep it super short. If you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to me. I'm happy to share more information about what we have going on and how we're trying to meet computer science standards and help you in that process as well. But I really appreciate your time. I hope you're all traveling safe, and thank you for having me.
Before Shane steps off, does anybody have any questions right now for him? If so, you can just turn off your mic or put them in the chat.
I think I'll put them in the chat if that works. Mine's just the main question is like, what are some quick, so I have Sphero bolts and I've done up to the first 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just wondering if any quick challenges, because I have kids for about 25 minutes once a week.
Yeah. And
so just like, what do you have besides the ones that are right on the app?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think a great place to look would be, and what grade level are you working with, Melissa?
3rd through 5th.
Okay, gotcha. For the older students, we have a new cybersecurity curriculum that's pretty great. It's totally free. Yeah, and it aligns with CTE initiatives and also, but it's designed for younger students. Mm-hmm. And so that can be a really great way to leverage your robots. It also covers a lot of the different sensors. So if you've only been really doing like movement, mm-hmm. then it's a great way to send IR messages between the different Bolt robots, or program the LED matrix, or use the ambient light sensor. So I can send you that information on the cybersecurity curriculum if you'd like.
Yeah, I would.
Cool.
What do you have in the secondary? I mean, you don't have to go into a lot of detail, just a quick spiel on that.
Yeah, in regards to like a platform, like a robotics platform, or
Yeah. So a lot of the stuff that you showed was kind of elementary, with the elementary standards. Do you have anything that deals with the secondary standards?
yeah, totally. I do have some of our more complex. I mean, this robot can be programmed with JavaScript, so you can get, you can move into, middle school and high school level as well. I actually had additional. So I have this robot right here called Rover. And this one is built for high school because you can put third-party hardware on the top, so you can do engineering as well. You can put microbit, Arduino. But I actually had a little Todd who I work with. He actually listed more secondary computer science standards that align with Rover, but I didn't fit that into this presentation because it would have taken a little bit too long. But yes, we do offer a lot of content and curriculum for secondary as well. And I can, send you some information on that if you'd like to directly reach out.
Yeah.
And if you get any of that stuff to me, Shane, I can pass it out to the whole group.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. Yeah, Brian, I'm happy to send you some more information on the cybersecurity stuff. So one of the things that we're trying to do, along with obviously meeting certain standards, is also tackle some of the CTE related things. So cybersecurity is the first unit that we've done, and it's a 20 units. It's a 20 activity unit with different segments, and they can be used as standalone, or you can follow them in like a continuous path and accomplish those activities that way. But what we're kind of doing now is adding more and more content surrounding CTE and job related fields. And I'm just putting your information into my notes. Some of the other things to also take a look at, and I'll send this to Abby, are the competitions that we're doing. This serves as additional content as well. We have in previous years done pre-K through 12. This year the registration is over, but that content will be out, and that's a great way to also have a more engaging experience with Sphero and get more content. And so I'll send links to that too. If you have any questions about what that looks like, let me know. But they're really designed to be super accessible, not as like, not super time intensive, and also built so that you can meet with your kids on a, whatever basis you can.
And is that for the Indy cars, the Spheros, all of them, or the competition stuff?
Yeah, so this latest one, which is closed, but the content will be out later, is for Indy, Little Bits, and Bolt. Last year's was Indy, Little Bits, Bolt, and Rover. And then next year we'll be doing Little Bits, Indy, Rover, Bolt, and Rover Plus. So we have a new version of this. So that's why we held off on Rover this year. And one other thing to note, we are developing a new platform for engineering for high school. The focus is engineering design, and it's and the goal is to be able to build, essential, building foundational and essential skills around, components like levers, pulleys, and then build that, break it down, and then have the next class come in and be able to build the same thing without having to do like unscrew stuff. So that is something that we are also coming out with, and that may be included in the competitions too.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you, Shane.
Yeah, thank
any
you.
questions here before we let him get on his way? And yeah, Shane, I'll reach out. I have a couple of questions for you that I'll reach out on email about and get those links, and I'll share them with everybody along with this recording for those who weren't able to make it.
Sounds good. And Brian, I'll answer your question real quick. Do you know if they're Spark Plus robots or are they Bolt?
Unfortunately, I don't know that much about them. I'll have to look more closely.
Okay.
The kids were plugging them or setting them up to charge and then taking them off and say, oh, these aren't charging. And so, and I knew nothing about them. So I've just kind of left them alone. But now
Gotcha.
I'm watching your presentation, I'm feeling like I need to get them out and get them working.
Yeah, sure. So just one note, if you do have Spark Plus robots and they're like, years old, they may have reached the end of their life cycle, but we had to put a pause on our Bolt upgrade program where you could upgrade to Bolt at like a pretty good discount. But now we have reinstated it, so that is available again. That can definitely be an option. Also, if you have Bolt, I would advise making sure that the case isn't plugged in all the time, or else it will like cycle through the battery. Will go charge it up, it'll drain the battery, it'll charge it up again. Not so much of a problem with a laptop because you can leave it charged, but definitely can be a problem with a Bolt if you leave it charged for like winter break or summer break or something like that.
And I believe that's what's happened with these. I don't know. I've took over the robotics part of stuff just this year, and I know we've had Bolts at least 4 years.
Okay.
I mean those bots. So anyway, I'll get more into it when I get home.
Yeah.
I'll be reaching out to you.
Okay.
I have found that over, like if the kids don't set them right, like to charge right, like if they're not on the charging port correctly, your Bolt is off, those won't charge or won't like be charging. So you kind of have to align it with that bottom circle.
Yeah, we played around with that quite a bit, but we never could get them to. It was multiple attempts, and then we never could get them to go. So anyway, though, I like the idea of using them though.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's get in touch, and we can try to troubleshoot and see if we can do anything about that.
Yeah. Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you all. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Happy holidays. Take care. See ya.
Holidays. Thank you.
Bye.